Hello and welcome to today's video. So this time we're going to be taking our final look through my collection of great pan paperbacks. These are the ones with the prefix G, and we're going to go from G601 right up to the very last numbers in my collection, which is just a little over 700. We'll also be having a look at, as you can see there's the Hard Day's Night, which is on one of those beautiful shop display promo stands, and I've got the original contract that John Burke struck up with Pan to write that famous film tie-in of A Hard Day's Night, and we've also got a look at my signed Peter Cushing Pan paperback. So some good stuff in today's video, so sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Okay, so number 602 then is The Green-Eyed Monster, Patrick Quinton. And we're certainly seeing a different sort of style of cover jacket now. On the whole, they're becoming less elaborate, with like a single image on the front. This one by Oval. There's the spines. So looking at this date-wise, 1962, just to pop that into sort of date perspective there. So 62 for this one here. 603 then, Can This Be Love? Harold Froy. And what you will find is that there's several gaps in this run, and that is because these later great pans, a lot of them are reprints of books that I've already got. So it's only recently that I've started picking up sort of later editions of books that I've already got, only if they've got different covers. But usually when it had a different cover and sometimes a different price, it would be giving a different pan catalogue number, in which case I would sort of pick it up. So some of these you'll see are actually reissues of books that we've already seen, but with a different sort of jacket on. G605 then, The India Rubber Men, from Edgar Wallace. 605. 606, The Mother, Pearl S. Buck. 607, now this is a film tie-in, The Ballad of the Running Man, Shelley Smith. Carol Reach production, stars Lawrence Harvey, Lee Remick, and Alan Bates. Well, I've heard of Schwarzenegger's The Running Man, based on the Stephen King novel, but I don't know about that Running Man. 608, Seance on a Wet Afternoon, Mark McShane. This is a little sort of gothic now, filming by Richard Attenborough. So this was in production. Reusing the some of the cover jacket there on the back, which I don't mind them doing that. Adds a little bit to it, doesn't it? 609, Arthur Upfield, Boney and the Kelly Gang. Yeah, not great, that one. Don't get much. The artwork looks very, very rushed, doesn't it? Not a lot of finesse gone into that one. And Earl Stanley Gardner, The Case of the Glamorous Ghost, Perry Mason. Michelle, looks like a fingerprint on there, but once again, not a great jacket, is it? $6.12, Gently Go Man, Alan Hunter. A little bit more like it. There was an element of juvenile delinquency in that title. This is one of their pan puzzle books, Panagrams. Like the way they use the little pan logo there. There we are. A few have been filled in by the look of it. I don't mind that on puzzle books. It's not like I'm ever going to do them or anything, but it's just nice to sort of have one in the collection. This is one that I've had since I was a youngster, and it was probably a forgettable Peter Cushing and Stanley Baker film, done by the very prolific, written by the very prolific John Burke, who did countless TV and movie tie-ins. Nice cover, that one, by Pef. It's unsigned. Oh, it's just over his shoulder there, but it's not perhaps his greatest, but it's certainly a really good one. Now, this particular book, as you said, my copy's not great, but I have had it since I was a teenager and really sort of started collecting pans. Now, if I recall, the original artwork to this is owned by Tim Kitchen at Ticket.net, the web's ultimate source for vintage pan books. A fellow collector called Johnny Mains has got his copy, and it's signed by John Burke, who he interviewed and did quite a bit with just before John Burke passed away. And my copy is signed by Peter Cushing. There we are, look. 1990, that one. And I wrote off to Peter Cushing. He was in sadly, he was in like a nursing home at the time, near the end of his life. Sent off a little parcel of stuff with a letter, and had it back within the week. I was really, and everything had been signed. So I was really delighted to get that. That's a real nice part of my pan collection, that one. Next we got G615, Enter the Saint, Leslie Charteris. My very next pan video, if all goes to plan, is going to be a look at the Saint in pan books. So Leslie Charteris in pan books. So I don't think I've got them all, but I'm pretty close. So I think it will make quite a nice video, that one. Peter Cheyney, It Couldn't Matter Less. I think we're just going to pause there. I'm just going to pull the camera out a moment. So interestingly, there's a second copy of It Couldn't Matter Less, and I remember why I picked this one up now, and it's because the edges of this one have been inked. So that probably meant that there was a huge stack of these, and they've been sprayed. And these were possibly for export, although looking at this one, it's the same book, first edition. One's in a priced and one's in an unpriced state. One's got the British 2 and 6, one hasn't, and one's got the edge markings and one hasn't. Apart from that, the books are the same. So make of that what you will, but it's just one of those weird, odd variants that I kept simply because they were so unusual, I think, you know. So Mario, Peter de Paulnay, I don't know much about this. Haunting story of innocence and corruption in the slums of a great Italian city. Florence, lovely Florence. I've heard it's very nice. I've not been myself. Edgar Wallace again, The Man at the Carlton. That's a nice sort of gothic jacket, isn't it? Very nice. Wonder who did that one. I can't see a signature. 1963 we're up to now. That was number 623. John Winton, We Saw the Sea, 624. The riotous sequel to We Joined the Navy. One of those sort of light humour books, which Pan did a few of. This is great. So this is one of my favourite authors, C.S. Forester, more famous for the Hornblower books, but he did do other bits and bobs as well. And this was actually one of his crime titles, which Penguin also published at one point. Nice jacket on this one by Taylor. And a pretty nice copy to boot. Look at this. The book comes with a warning. In the interest of your own enjoyment, do not read the last page in advance. Well, who would want to do that? Let's be honest. This is another really crazy one. I Was a Teenage Dwarf. The Scandalous Adventures of a Pocket Casanova. A comic masterpiece. Well, I don't know really what to say about that one. So we'll rapidly go on to the next one, which is another in-house title, 634. It's the second Pan quiz book, Cedric Cliff. 1001 posers in a new and imaginative form, set by the Round Britain quiz expert. 635, The Flying Squad, Edgar Wallace again. And Edgar Wallace certainly was massive back then. I had no idea. But he was so prolific and had such a back catalogue. Oh yeah, here's another one here, 640. The Clue of the Twisted Candle. Quite a nice book that, 640. Now here's another Saint title, The Saint Goes On. Thrills Unlimited for the Intrepid Simon Templar. W. Francis Phillips. He did a few books, book jackets. These sort of slightly later ones. Famously went on to do the front cover of the first jacket to the paperback of James Herbert's The Rats. 648, The Bad Dream, Malcolm Gare. Oval. Nice copy of that. And these later ones are quite thin because of the price. They're being sold at 2 and 6. So they're not particularly thick books. Lee Gibb, The Higher Joneses. Follow up to the Joneses and How to Keep Up with Them. Got a few illustrations in that one. That's a slightly more aged copy, you could say. Sort of brown edges on that one. Page edge browning. 652, another Edgar Wallace, Terror Keep. And some of these I did get, another Phillips cover. I did get quite a lot of these, not from that big collection, but from a chap who had just a massive Edgar Wallace collection. It was virtually everything, all the Hodders, the Pans. It was just incredible. So there's not many of those I doubt I need, actually. 653 then, Maybe You're Just Inferior, Harold Froy. Head Shrinking for Fun and Profit. Looks like a look at psychiatrists. A bit of sci-fi now. Poole Anderson, Guardians of Time. I do like my sci-fi. Pan did a bit of it. They didn't shy away, but nowhere near as much as certain other publishers. Jack Kerouac, Lonesome Traveller. Obviously, most famous for On the Road, but one of the beat authors. Not the greatest of copies, but we'll take it. They tend to go for quite a bit of money, those. 669, Lust for Innocence. Diane Doubtfire, by the author of Reason for Violence. Nice oval jacket there. Sort of jumps off the page quite nicely, doesn't it, that? $672, Down the Hatch, John Winton. Ah, yeah, same as the chap who did We Joined the Navy and We Saw the Sea. Another one by that author. Let's pop these just over here. Start a fresh pile. In fact, I can't quite see them very well, but I think we'll stop in a minute anyway because we're coming up to the Beatles. So this is Passion Flower Hotel. This was the original Passion Flower one. I seem to remember it had a sequel, Passion Flowers in Italy. I think it is the sequel, sort of about some. It's a bit like the St. Trinians, sort of schoolgirls getting up to mischief. Yet another Edgar Wallace, number 681, The Brigand. Phillips again. He must have been commissioned to do a whole run of them. W. Francis Phillips, because there's a load of them. Now the next one is pretty interesting. So it's a film tie-in by John Burt. I've got a couple of copies, and you'll see why in a minute. Of the A, I love the Beatles, and B, this is a really great film tie-in. And I've picked up a second copy because I actually own the original manuscript that John Burke signed up with Pan for this. So let me just go and grab that. Okay, so I've popped my couple of copies of A Hard Day's Night into that nice shop display stand. So as you can see there, Pan would send these out to bookshops sort of on a promotional basis. So read the book, see the film. And Pan published a lot of film tie-ins. I mean, no way around it. They really did. And for that reason alone, it's really nice to see. I do remember seeing, I think it was on Tim's website, where there was some photos of W.H. Smith and they'd used it to publicise the James Bond movie on Her Majesty's Secret Service. But to be honest, as long as you got a film tie in there, it doesn't really matter which one it is. To be honest, this A Hard Day's Night, which was published in '64, is probably a little bit too early for that particular stand, but I don't think it matters too much. So one thing I have got, which I wanted to show you, which it's a bit difficult to see on a video, but this is a copy of John Burke's original contract, which he set up with Pan Books to write the book. So here it is. It's to John Burke Esquire, Pan Books Limited, and based on Alan Owen's film script, The Beatles. They didn't actually call it A Hard Day's Night. They just had a script, and then very, very thin paper. And it just sort of says published price of all the copies sold. So 50,000 copies sold, and he'd get 2.5 pence per copy, I think it is, plus a flat fee. And then what he gets if it's reprinted. And there, down the bottom there, let's see if I can show you this as well. I say it's a bit tricky to show you, but down the bottom there, it's sort of stamped with a Pan Books thing. The penny over it is then signed by Clarence Paget, who was one of the editors at Pan. So that's his original contract from 1964. And then there's a second one here, which is for July 77. For the Hard Day, it's actually called A Hard Day's Night this time. And that looks like it must be for a reprint of A Hard Day's Night. And once again, these ones came straight from the author's archive. So they're quite nice, those. So I thought you'd quite like to see them. A little bit of related paraphernalia. And let's just go on. We've got a few more to get through. So then 688, because the Beatles were 687. So 688 is Oh Mistress Mine, Harold Froy. How to Go Roaming Safely, a deliciously outrageous and daring romp. If you say so. A few like little cartoon illustrations and bits and bobs in there. Not my perfect Pan book. Certainly by now they do seem to have lost their way a little bit, don't they? This is a great one. They're also by John Burke, and it was part of the Amicus Portmanteau horror stories, where there was like 3 or 4 interconnected short stories, and this was from the screenplay by Milton Subotsky. He was the chap behind the 2 60s Dalek movies, and this one, great cast: Peter Cushing, Christopher Lee, Roy Castle. I actually watched this one quite recently, and it was pretty good. Donald Sutherland there at the top. Alan Freeman. There he is. Brilliant stuff, actually. Yeah, it wasn't bad. I mean, it's like sort of stories with a twist, really. I wouldn't mind a slightly better copy of that one, but it's quite a nice little movie tie-in, that one. And if you do ever come across it, it's worth grabbing. And the film. So here's a bit of fun. Barbara Cartland, The Pan Book of Charm. A gay practical guide by the famous authoress. There she is there, looking very, very young. She was already, look at the books. I mean, incredibly prolific. I guess she almost turned out a book in an afternoon, didn't she, Barbara Cartland? 694 then, Nicholas Mossrat. The time before this, another one by Oval. Getting very thin now towards the end. Not many were published at 2 and 6. Another Mossrat, 695. Smith and Jones. I think that was one of his more sort of classic ones. John Mcdonald, nice crime author, American crime fiction. They did a few in this sort of series where there was like handcuffs on the front cover, and then a tiny little vignette in the middle with the artwork in, which was a bit of a cop-out, really, wasn't it, you know? And nowhere near a patch on their lovely jackets of just, 6 or 7 years prior to this. But what a shame. But that was how, I guess, the styles were changing. It's as simple as that. And they had to move with the times. The Zylov Bombs, G.G. Barron. 698. G698. G699 then, Funny Haha and Funny Peculiar. Another one of those sort of, these would sell at Christmas, those slight sort of comedy books that you might find at Christmas time. 701 is the 8th Pan Book of Crosswords. Haven't got all the crossword books, but I'm not missing many. As per usual, the first few have been attempted. That seems to be always the way with these crossword books that I find. But as I said, I don't go out of my way to look for them. These are just all ones that have come my way. So I never pay much for them. Now that's a decent jacket. That's one of the best jackets we've seen all day. Cover to another C.S. Forester, The Gun. I wonder who did that jacket, if it was done specifically for Pan. Oh, there we are. Look, Taylor again. So yeah, that's why it's actually got a bit of detail in it. Yeah, very good. Very nice jacket, that one. And I do love C.S. Forester. He's great. A few left to go now. So Cockatrice, Wolf Mankiewicz. And this is another nice book. This is a really nice, I remember getting this one. It's a really nice sort of unread copy of this. And yeah, pleased with that one. It's really tight. There's a page-edge browning, but overall not too bad at all for 708. 710, Tales from the House Behind. So this is obviously a sequel of sorts to the Diary of Anne Frank. Slightly different. I'm not sure if this is a first or if it's a later one. So it says, no, this is a first, published in 1965. With a few little illustrations inside as well. So that's quite nice. I used that famous picture of Anne Frank on the front. Then we got this one here, Meet, Mickey Phillips. Now, I seem to remember something about this one, I'm trying to think if the cover was designed by Richard Chopping or not. I just vaguely remember thinking or hearing something about the cover being done by Richard Chopping, who did the James Bond covers, of course, a lot of them for Jonathan Cape. Maybe not. I'm not 100% sure, but I just seem to remember that might have been the case. Then the very last of the great pans that I've got, at least, I think they went up to number 716, something like that, 715. But the last one I've got is Up the Junction by Nell Dunn, a real classic. There was the, I'm not sure if it was a movie or a TV drama that was quite famous, tied into this one. This is 1966. And that's the very last great pan that I've got in my collection. So there we go. That brings an end to the great pans. Now, obviously, I haven't got them all. I think I'm missing maybe 100, probably less than that of the great pans now, just to get the full set. But as I get them, I shall obviously cover those in my monthly book pickups videos, which where I get all my new acquisitions and I film those, and before they're sort of added into the main collection. Next stop will be, I think, my special looking at Leslie Charteris in Pan Books, and then the month after that, so we're looking at January, maybe February, we'll start on the Pan Giants. So that's the X series. So that is what we got coming up soon. If you have enjoyed today's video, do please give it a thumbs up. Do please consider subscribing if you've not already for regular vintage paperback content. And I shall look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye.